function notation. So function notation looks like this. You're going to see this f parentheses x, and we read and say f of x. So the letter f is the name of the function. So you might see other letters like g, h. You might not see the letter f, but it's going to be a letter there. Your input is always going to be x. Okay, that's what goes into the function. And when you evaluate it, you're going to get a number out. That's your output. Okay, most of the time when we see function notation, it's just a fancy word for y. Okay, remember we're going to read and say f of x when we read this out loud. So here I have y, this is said f of x, and it's just a fancier version of our y. Okay, so let's take a look at an example. Okay, this says given h of x equals 5x minus 1, find h of 1. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my 1. This is my x. See, it says h of x, and then I replace that with 1. This means x is equal to 1. And this wants me to take this function, it says 5, multiplied by x minus 1, and we want to take 1 and put it in for that x. So I'm going to say h of 1 equals 5. Instead of the letter x, that's where my 1 goes. And then part of the function is this minus 1. Okay? Now I multiply these two together. 5 times 1 is 5 minus 1. So now we have h of 1. I'm going to get rid of the blue 1 there. Equals 5 minus 1. So h of 1 is equal to 4. Okay? So remember, this was my x value. The 4 is my now y value. Okay? So you can also write it as an ordered pair. 1, 4. X is the 1, y is the 4. Let's look at another one. This one says given g of x equals negative 2x minus 1, find g of negative 4. So this time x equals negative 4. Okay, so that means I have this function, and negative 4 is going to go in for this x. So we're going to say g of negative 4 equals negative 2. That's part of my function. I'm putting in negative 4 instead of the letter x minus 1. Okay, I do my multiplication. Negative 2 times negative 4 is a positive 8. Put my minus 1 there. So now I have g of negative 4 equals 8 minus 1. So g of negative 4 is equal to 8 minus 1 is 7. Okay, again, this was my x value, this was my input, this is my y value, this was my output, and I can also write it as the point, negative 4, 7. When you're doing delta math, they may just want this number right here, okay, and that's okay, but just so you see, this is your x, this is your y, your input, and your output. Let's take a look at some other examples you might see. So here we have f of x equals negative 2x squared plus 2x plus 4. Find f of 1. So again, x equals 1. So I'm going to write f. Instead of the letter x, I'm going to put a 1 because I'm finding f of 1 equals negative 2. Instead of the number x, or the letter x, putting the number 1. It's going to get squared plus 2. Put in my 1 plus 4, okay? There's no math that ever happens with this part, okay? This is the part we want to figure out what value it is. So if you don't know how to do this, you can come over to your Desmos calculator and you can type in exactly what you see. Negative 2 parentheses 1 squared plus 2 parentheses 1 plus 4. And you get 4. So I have f of 1 is equal to 4. Okay, this is my x. This is my y, and I can write it as the point 1, 4. Okay, your x and your y. Again, delta math, I think, is just going to want this 4 here, but this is your ordered pair. In went the 1, out came the 4. Let's look at one more like this. Again, we have our function here, find f of negative 4. So that means x equals negative 4. So f of negative 4 equals, now this says negative x squared, so I have to put a negative first, and then I can put your x, which is negative 4 squared, plus 5, negative 4, and then it says minus 2. Notice everywhere there was an x, I put a negative, okay? Again, I just want this part to put in my calculator. You do not calculate this. We're figuring this out. What is f of negative 4? Well, let's put it in. I get negative, parentheses, negative 4 squared, said plus 5, parentheses, oops, I forgot a plus. Okay, and then my last part was a minus 2. Okay, and I get negative 38. Okay, so again, this was my input. This is my output. And you can always write it as an ordered pair, negative 4, negative 38. Okay, lastly, let's take a look at what function notation looks like when we're using a graph, okay? This one says find the value of f of negative 7. So this is the graph for f of x. So all they're saying when they ask you to use a graph is, again, x equals negative 7. So find on your graph, here's your x-axis, negative 7. And then look at where this graph goes when I'm negative 7. So that's right here at negative 4 on the y-axis. Okay? Because the point negative 7, negative 4 exists. So your answer is right here, negative 4. At when x is negative 7, y is negative 4. So that's your answer. Same thing here. Find the value of f of negative 4. So here x equals negative 4. So I'm going to go to negative 4. And this graph goes up here. So I'm going to go up here. And this one looks like right there. Come over here. This is at 5. So that's the point, negative 4, 5. So your answer there, when x was negative 4, y was 5. Again, input, there's your x. Output is y. All right, go ahead and practice in your Delta Math.